Hello, Abnormal Investigations. Good to see all of you all. Of course, it's always a pleasure to visit with my abnormal family. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys. Your support has been awesome the last 3 days, guys. It's truly life changing. Thank you so much for everything. I wish I could just open up, but I can't right now. But you all you've changed a lot of things, and I'm very thankful for you guys. Your support has just been amazing, and wow. Don't forget, also tonight, guys, we have our live at 8:45 p.m. Let's try to beat that record, man. We have went up every live we've had, almost hitting 4,000 views in our last live. Tomorrow night, we're going to hit some pretty scary places, but we're going to try to hit that 4,000 tomorrow night. And don't forget to hit the likes on these videos also, guys, as they're very important, and the likes on the lives. And thank you, moderators, for everything that you do. Let's get on to this encounter. I must warn you guys, this is a kind of has a little bit of gore in it. It's not real bad, but I do want to throw that warning out there just in case somebody is not able to handle that. I grew up on a farm in Tennessee in the 1950s. Our 20-acre property was teeming with life. Cows, chickens, hogs, and dogs roamed the land. I remember waking up to the sound of birds chirping and the warmth of the sun rising over the fields. As a child, I spent my days exploring the outdoors, helping with farm chores, and learning the value of hard work. My family was my rock, and we relied on each other to keep the farm running smoothly. But life wasn't without its challenges. I faced difficulties that tested my courage and resilience. However, with the support of my loved ones and the lessons I learned on that farm, I persevered and I grew stronger. Looking back, I realized that my experiences shaped me into the person I am today. The farm taught me the importance of family, hard work, and determination. I'm grateful for the memories and the values that have stayed with me throughout my life. Working on the farm with my family also taught us the value of teamwork and collaboration. That's going to come in pretty important later on in this story. I was 16 and my older brother Mark was 18. We were tasked with the various responsibilities from tending to the animals to harvesting crops. We learned to rely on each other's strengths and support each other's weaknesses. I remember one summer we were faced with a severe drought that threatened our crops. Mark and I worked tirelessly together, irrigating the fields and monitoring the weather. Our efforts paid off and we managed to save most of our harvest. These long days and nights working together forged an unbreakable bond between us. We became more than just siblings. We became a team, a partnership that could overcome any obstacle. And that's a lesson that has stayed with me to this day. But on one fateful night, we saw something that would itself change what we would forever believe in. We were out in the field checking on the livestock when we spotted a wolf lurking in the shadows. It was a large wolf, but it was a wolf nonetheless. But the strength and the size of this thing just seemed to have a heavy feeling on your chest. My brother Mark, knowing that this animal could be dangerous to the livestock, reacted instinctively, grabbing his old .6 rifle and taking aim. He fired, and the wolf let out a blood-curdling scream unlike anything I'd ever heard before. It wasn't a yelp or a howl, but a haunting, mournful cry that sent shivers down my spine. The wolf collapsed, vanished into the darkness of the woods. We approached cautiously, our hearts racing, and found it lying motionless. Its eyes were frozen in permanent stare. We knew we had to report it to the authorities, but in that moment we just stood there, frozen in awe and fear, our minds reeling with the realization of what we had just witnessed. We kept telling ourselves this was a large wolf, but it wasn't built like a wolf. It was built like a human also. There was so many human in just the way it looked. The aspects of this animal My brother honestly started getting scared, wondering if maybe he had murdered somebody. But looking at it, you could tell it was an animal too. It was so confusing, but it had so much of a human look. When the sheriff arrived, we led him to the spot where we'd last seen the wolf body lay. But to our surprise, there was no body to be found. Instead, we followed a huge blood trail that disappeared into the darkness of the woods. The sheriff examined the scene. His expression was thoughtful. He looked at us, and he said, "Boys, it's okay," he said finally. "You did what you had to do to protect your livestock. Don't you worry about it." And with that, he turned and headed back to his cruiser, leaving us standing there wondering what had just happened. We looked at each other, Mark and I, and we shrugged. We knew we'd seen the wolf fall, but somehow it had vanished into thin air. We knew that it didn't walk away because of a large gaping hole right through its throat where that .6 180-grain bullet had passed through. It was a huge hole full of blood, and you could see part of the esophagus. The incident left us with more questions than answers, but we knew one thing for sure. We'd never forget the night we shot a wolf that seemed to disappear into the night that looked human. That night we heard the chickens raising hell. We grabbed our .22 rifle thinking that it was a possum or something and ran to the chicken house thinking we'd catch the predator in the act. But as we were nearing the chicken's house, something hit me squarely in the face, knocking me to the ground, almost out, making me dizzy, and there were all the lights from the house and all hazy, and I was dazed and disoriented, with blood streaming down my face. As I struggled to sit up, I realized that something was wrong. There was a dead chicken laying by me, its limp, bloody body, lifeless body, laying beside me. Something had hit me in the face with a dead chicken. My nose and lips were bleeding profusely, and I could taste the metallic tang of blood in my mouth. Mark rushed to my side, helping me up and examining my face. "Damn, you're bleeding like a stuck pig," he said. We both knew that we had to get me cleaned up and find out what the hell had happened to the chickens. That was our life. As we approached the chicken house, we saw that it was a disarray. I had my shirt held over my face, trying to contain what blood I could, but feathers were everywhere and more blood splattered around. It was clear that something had attacked the chickens, but what? And why had it thrown a dead chicken at me? We were determined to find out. Then we saw it. A large, shadowy figure emerged from the chaos of the chicken house. Its eyes were fixed upon us. You could see the huge whites of the eyes from the dark midnight fur. It was a damn werewolf. I have no other way of saying what it was. Its body was a terrifying mix of human and wolf. Its fur matted and bloody. It was carrying something in its jaws, something that looked eerily like a baby pig. Now this was a different color than the wolf we had killed. The one we had killed was a dark brown, almost a cinnamon. This one was jet black. Our minds raced as we watched in horror. We froze in place. The werewolf turned to us, its eyes locking onto us with an unnerving intensity. We knew we had to act fast or we'd be its next victims. Now a lot of people would call these dogmen. I called them werewolves, but I believe you could probably call them either one. Mark raised his rifle, taking aim at the creature. I stood paralyzed and my heart pounding in my chest, thinking, this isn't the .6. This is just the .22. The werewolf took a step closer, its eyes never leaving us, and then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it turned around and vanished into the darkness, with one of our baby pigs in its mouth. We stood there stunned, trying to process what we had just seen. A damn werewolf? It couldn't be real, right? But we knew what we saw, and we knew that our lives could be in danger at any time now. I'm not going to lie. We was scared as hell. These things aren't supposed to exist. and there we'd seen two, one in the day and one at night. The next night, Dad decided to take matters into his own hands. He strung up some razor wire we had, and he strung it up around the chicken house, hoping to catch the werewolf off guard. We were all on high alert, waiting to see if it would work. Now, I'll admit my dad was a little hesitant if what he thought we saw was a werewolf, but we always took each other seriously and knew that we didn't lie to each other, so he even knew that we had seen something that we didn't know what it was. And trust me, to everybody listening to this story, just because you feed every night and you don't never see anything, or you hunt every day and you don't never see anything, doesn't mean the next time you won't, because we've never seen nothing like this on our farm either, until this one night. Our neighbor Fred was over at our house. He was having a cup of coffee with my mom and dad. We were all sitting in the living room when we heard a loud thud and a blood-curdling scream. The werewolf had gotten tangled in the razor wire, and again, this was not a yelp or a dog sound. It was a mix between a human and a dog. Hard to explain. Fred, being curious one, got up to look out the window, and that's when it happened. Dad's spade shovel came crashing through the window and smashed right into Fred's face. We were all in shock, staring at the shattered window and the shovel lodged in the side of Fred's face. His face was pale. His muttered voice was trembling. We knew then that we was in for a fight for our lives. Two fights. One fight to keep the creature from killing us all, and another fight to keep Fred from bleeding to death. The shovel fell out of his face without having to be removed from the weight of the handle, I'm guessing. Fred stumbled backwards, falling to the floor. We were all in shock as my dad ripped his shirt off and started applying pressure to his face, yelling for my mom to get the gun. Mom rushed to Fred's side, trying to calm him down as she carefully removed the shovel from his side, yelling at my dad to get the gun, that she would take care of Fred. The werewolf had attacked us, and it had left its mark on Fred's face. It was forever scarred. The creature outside ended up running away, and that dirty, fearful scream that I will never forget. It had to have been ripped up something fierce. We loaded Fred into the car, my dad standing guard with the rifle. We rushed Fred to the hospital, praying that he would survive the brutal attack. Thankfully, he did. But the scars would remain with him for the rest of his life, both physical and emotional. The werewolf's attack had left him blinded in one eye, a constant reminder of the horror he faced that night. After that, the creature never returned to our farm. The next morning, when we did arrive, there was blood all in the razor wire. Our neighbors determined to hunt it down, comb the woods and fields all summer, but it seemed to have vanished into the fields. We knew that it had faced us for some odd reason, and it had attacked us. Was it because we had killed one of its own? Or was it there to kill us anyways? The experience left us shaken, but it also taught us the importance of family, community, and resilience. We learned that even in the face of unimaginable evil, standing together you can persevere through anything. And I know a lot of you are going to say, why didn't you send the barbed wire off to get it tested or whatever? We were a poor family that lived on a farm. Getting the blood tested wasn't even a thought that would have ran through our minds. Ours was safety of the farm, safety of our family, and getting rid of these things. I hope that you all have enjoyed this encounter, and I hope that you all will learn something from this encounter. Fred, he enjoys telling the story, and he says people should enjoy hearing it, because it also gives you a chance to know that these things that lurk in the darkness, you may not run into them for years, or maybe not even ever in your life, but there can be that one day when your paths cross, and you will put your eyes upon the most evil, scariest thing you've ever seen. And I'm telling you the truth. Me and my brother seen it. They do exist, and they will kill you if you mess with them. Thank you for sharing my encounter. I would say probably because you shot the one across the field and killed it, that it came back for revenge. Um, that's why I don't fire at them, unless I think they're coming right at me. I would rather observe them instead of trying to hurt them. But now I am going to defend myself, and I expect, whoever's with me to defend themselves also. I mean, I have a distance I will allow them to come to before I react, so I think that's important. But I'm not going to take a shot across the field at one when it's hundreds of yards away or 100 yards or whatever. It's just, to me, it's not a threat at that point. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope to see you all tonight on the live. Don't forget it's tonight at 8:45 Central Daylight Time. Come and join us, guys. Ride along with us, laugh with us, get scared with us, explore with us, and hopefully we'll be able to maybe encounter something. Thank you for listening, guys, and until next time, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, and we'll see you on the next one.